Well, God bless you, Paul and Paul.
Yeah. Paul, you got any questions for the infamous Mike from around the world about tonight?
I'll let Mike talk, and then as they come up, I think I can shoot a few questions over to him.
See, right there, Mike shows you he has more wisdom than I do. Right there.
We're old.
Oh, I know. We're old, Mike. We're old. Mike, how you feeling tonight? Okay.
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
How do you see the trends of what's going on right now in this election?
Can I play conspiracy theorist?
Yeah, I think they already think you and I are. So go ahead.
I'm gonna be a big one.
Okay.
I'm gonna be a big one.
Okay.
Now we already knew we had contested thoughts coming into this election, right?
Right.
They cannot allow. First of all, I don't trust computers.
No.
Second, they cannot allow any visuals of a blowout right now. They can't do that. So they're keeping everything closed, right?
Right.
Everything is closed. I'm sitting here looking at Virginia, which is a telltale marker. That's a gateway to the north, right?
Yep.
And it's going Trump. That's not a good sign for Harris, right? It's not a good sign for Harris. I have some colleagues of mine who are not happy. They're just not happy. Not tonight. They're not happy. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If Trump wins or not, we have a problem. We do. We have a problem. We still have Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in office. Look at this scenario. So let's say Trump wins.
Okay.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are still in office. Joe Biden, of course, he's got medical issues. That will come up. But we have a Middle Eastern issue. We have a Russian and Iranian issue. Big time. I mean, big time. Even now, they're tracking Iran's movements very closely. So they do expect some surprises within the next 72 hours from Iran. They do. And over here, they expect something also. There were 2 attempts on our power grid today, right?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, 2 attempts on our power grid. Serious attempts. These weren't, mediocre attempts. These were serious attempts. And so you have all this going on, plus a presidential election. And this is a fight between good and evil. This really is a fight between good and evil.
Right.
But there's a representation of some very sick folks right now, and they are, believe me when I tell you, they're not going to have the optics as though they control anything. Truth be told, they can easily control everything. See, nobody should be naive that computers can easily be altered without evidence. That means they can go back and check all day. You still can't, tell. The people, some of the exit polls, as I was watching the exit polls, surprisingly, they were concerned. Most of the people were concerned. A very high percentage were concerned about the state of democracy. Isn't that odd?
That's
odd. Surprising. That's very surprising. It was greater than, I believe it was greater than 41%. That's a pretty big percentage of an issue that people were concerned about. The turnout is double. It was double in the early votes than it ever was before in history.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you have a lot of hidden figures coming out, independents, so on and so forth, people who have swapped sides, which are going to make this election uncallable. It's just literally uncallable until they get down to, I'd say, about at least 60%. We're right now, I believe, they're in the center of the nation, right? Those are the battleground states. There are 15 states that will determine this race for the most part. And they're starting to tally those votes. They're going to keep everything close until the very last minute, right? Because they know people are on edge. There have been 500 lawsuits so far.
Wow.
Machines have broken down. Certain machines have broken down. Once all this comes out, if they don't do it the right way, it's going to cause skepticism. They have everything is being watched. Law enforcement is at a maximum right now. They're just waiting. So it's really it's calm right now, thank God, but it's a breaking point. And it really boils down to this. We're seeing something quite unusual. All these red states, or all the red marks that you see, are actually non-corporate areas that I'm starting to see pop up red. I'm just now looking at this map, and the areas that are blue are corporate areas. These are folks who are dentists, things like that.
Yes.
Well, the common person you see in the red areas. If these red areas take over, then the blue has been totally out of touch, right?
Right.
They're not going to like that much. They're not. These are prideful people. Prideful. So stepping aside so easily, it's just not going to happen. We're so late in the game, right? To be a conspiracy theorist, I'll give you a scenario.
All right.
Suppose Trump wins.
Okay.
But then we're forced into war.
Because of the Middle East, or
that's right.
Okay.
Middle East.
Okay.
Because of literally all Iran has to do is bombard Israel, or the appearance of such, and then we're dragged into something that we really can't get out of overnight. Right? If something happens here in America, that's an even worse scenario. Now, I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist in a few weeks. I have a strong feeling something will happen in America. Just in a few weeks, just in under a few weeks, something will happen.
Do you feel this will happen before the swearing in of the next president?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Yes, I do. I think the circumstances here in America are going to change. This will. I'll tell you what. If they don't, if the transition is easy, right? Why would evil give up so easily?
They just called Texas for Trump, and just now have just called Ohio for Trump. So just so you guys know, that's a big one. Trump is ahead in Ohio right now, 54 to 45, with 54% of the votes in. And I'm missing one more state. I'm trying to see who that is. Is it Missouri? I can't remember. I can't see it. Anyway.
No.
What is Wisconsin? Is he winning Wisconsin?
Right now, 2% is in. Trump's up 61.5%.
So,
he needs Wisconsin. He needs that.
Has he won Missouri? Have they called Missouri Israel? Paul?
No. Let me share so you can get a visual here too. No, they haven't called Missouri yet.
They called Kansas, though. They have called Kansas. They just called Kansas just now.
No, I don't have that on mine, but
okay. So is that what you have there?
He's got Kansas. That's a critical state.
Yes, he just got Kansas. And I'm trying to see if there's any there that I'm missing. I have 186 for Trump and 102 for Harris but I think they gave Harris another smaller state somewhere. I'm not sure where.
What is the percentage in Kansas? The total percentage?
So they haven't called Kansas yet. It's 39%.
Oh, okay.
51, almost 52% for Harris.
Fox News has just called Kansas for Trump.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but you're looking at the AP, right?
This is AP. Yeah, everybody's numbers are a little different.
They got to be.
You kind of have to look at everybody.
We should be careful.
CNN is 154 to 30 Trump. So they haven't given Harris anything.
They're way behind. Okay, they're way behind. All right, so Mike, Ohio's big, though, that it did go to Trump, and you're saying Kansas would be big as well.
Well, Wisconsin is going to be that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, where's that
Wisconsin's going to be a big one.
So Trump is leading there right now, but only 25% is in? Paul?
2%.
Oh,
just
two.
two.
It's too early. Okay, it's too
It's
early.
going to be a big one. He needs that, and it looks like, well, we'll see.
What about
We'll see.
what about Pennsylvania and Virginia? I think Mike, you're saying that Virginia might go Trump's way. Let's look at.
Well, it's going to be, it's kind of close in Virginia. The eastern half of Virginia is something is different this year in Virginia. It really is. It's normally not like this, but you have a lot of folks. Virginia had that controversy over folks who were not supposed to be allowed to vote because they were their immigration status,
Yeah.
of course, and of course got involved and halted in a process of because they were throwing people out, and they of course got involved anyway. That's normally that would usually go to a Democrat, but this time I'm interested to see how many independents stepped in Virginia and how many first-time voters. It's a pretty big amount of first-time voters this time also.
Is that because of you feel like they're new voters joining the Trump train?
Well, they're concerned. You have a lot of young kids who are young kids, maybe up to the age of 37, who are concerned about the economy, and they are first-time voters. They took a deep interest in this. What's happening is you have the Democrats have been ruling in the White House, and they keep telling people the economy is recovering and all these things are happening. But you look outside of the corporate demographic, and these kids feel it in their wallets. You know, the items are too high. They just simply can't make it for whatever reason. They just can't make it. So in their minds, the economy is not so stable. The economy is not in their favor. Now, the Democrats, it really shows you that something has broken down in the Democratic system, period. Because when you trust in numbers that the country is doing better, but the people cannot feel the country is doing better, there's a disconnect, a clear disconnect.
Right.
And so what we're seeing now is a reflection of that disconnect. We're seeing that, and nobody's buying. There's a spiritual change, yes, but there's also a type of awareness that's just not been before. People, they've heard the same rhetoric for so long, how good things are getting, but it's not reflecting in their wallets. And when you're a college student, every dime counts, right? If you're not a doctor or dentist or something like that, every dime counts. And so people feel that. Right, even from middle class to lower class and some upper class, they feel it. And if you, again, on this map, if you look at the corporate headquarters or corporate dwelling places like Charlotte, North Carolina, that's a corporate city,
right?
You'll find that they go blue. They listen to Harris. Why? Because they don't feel the sting of what's actually happening. The numbers they're translating, the Democrats, have to do with these are projections in some cases. These are numbers that nobody's going to ever see, so nobody can feel they feel the burden of not having the benefit of the reflection of those numbers of any good economy. They don't see a good economy. They're worried about the state of democracy in this nation, and many college kids said, "Why won't they call it a republic?" Oops.
Right, because it is a republic. What they're saying. Yeah.
That's what they're saying. Why won't they call it a republic? And here's something, Pastor Paul, that's very interesting. A lot of college kids, all of a sudden, for some reason, these kids have taken an interest in the Bible, in biblical events, because of the weather systems and things that are happening in Israel and all this.
Right.
Everybody's starting to look for explanations or taking an interest in the Bible again. So when you mix the Bible with the hearing the same rhetoric from the Democrats saying everything is okay, yet your wallet's not saying that, right?
Right.
They do not trust the Democrats. They just simply don't do it. And that's what's happening here. So this is where we are, and that reflection is clear. Everything going red is reflecting the folks that feel the sting of that. Now, the base parties, of course, are going to vote whatever their party is. But these kids that are coming in, And some of these folks who are independent, who have registered as, or who voted Republican, and some of the Democrats who were still Democrats, but they voted Republican because of the economy, right? All these are making a difference right now.
You know, Mike, you brought a great point that they're looking for answers. And so they're watching the weather. They're looking at the war in Israel and the war in Europe. They see the economy, the inflation just all out of control, the southern border, and they're starting to think within themselves, I got to find the answer, and they're turning to the Bible. Isn't that part of what we thought, what God maybe intended? Israel Hall's breaking in with something. Israel?
Well, Pastor, it's really wild. You guys are talking about the events in Israel and about young people turning, and voting. I just read on Amir Sarfati's page that Trump won Miami-Dade by 10 points.
Wow.
It's like a combination of what you guys are talking about,
That's crazy, but that's the Hispanic vote, okay?
Yeah.
That is huge because we have been watching this trend of the Hispanic people in America who are mainly Christian and family-oriented and hardworking and conservative values. And they've been told they had to be Democrats because of their minority status.
Yeah.
But as they have settled in and got working and got things moving, they've said, no. We're not following that liberal agenda. We're going to go with the God Party, basically. We're going to go and stay more faithful to the Lord and to conservative values and family values. And that's huge. If Trump won Miami-Dade by 10%, this is a massive, and that's a hidden number, as you're saying, Mike, that's not being reported out there.
That's right. That's right. And so we're seeing that. We're seeing the results of that. And the Democrats they cannot comprehend some of these. These are external issues to them because they're too stuck on the Waltz or Kamala explanation. Oops, that's woke, isn't it? My bag. I didn't mean to say that. But they're stuck on another agenda. They're too busy trying to tell everybody how they can be their own creator, right? How they can change what they are. This, that, and the other. They're stuck on some weird agenda. And you have the rest of the country who is, they're really trying to make it.
Right.
And they're not making it by the propaganda of the Democrats. One of the bigger deals was Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he believed what he was being advised to tell, right? So he believes the economy is better.
Right.
He does. But nobody else does, right? These young kids don't.
No.
They don't believe it's better. And they can cut this war situation in the Middle East. And the USA did not take a position for or against Israel. They just stayed silent for a while. And then they said, yes, the war needs to end, and did nothing, right? Well, you have a lot of folks who have friends. This is a international world now, right? There are no real borders. Now they have social media. So everybody's intimately involved in the affairs of every single nation. And they're saying, why are these people, what's happening in Israel? Why is nobody doing anything? And then they look at the president's talking about some other issue, right? So they lost confidence in the government, period. A lot of college kids lost confidence. And when it came down to Trump and his rhetoric, you know what? Some of the Latinos and some of the folks who are here in this country that are from those nations, they already said they understand rhetoric. They understand that, you get frustrated when people won't listen. They were essentially saying the Democrats are not listening. They're just not listening to the people.
They're not.
They're watching their charts, and they're doing whatever they do by charts.
Aren't
but
they
they're
also
disconnected from the people?
Aren't you to that point, Mike? You're exactly right. They go get Beyonce, go get big celebrities, and walk around on stage with them, and hold concerts, and the people come to see the concerts, and then Harris talks to them. This was not a movement that was in touch. The Democrats have lost touch with common man. People can't pay the rent.
Pastor.
They can't pay the rent. The groceries are too high. Gas is out of control. People are struggling working 2 and 3 jobs. And I just saw, me and Heidi was just talking about this. We just saw a lady the other night at a restaurant that we were at. And Heidi says, isn't she the same lady that works at the other one, the diner in the morning?
Yep.
And so she works at the diner in the morning, closes at 2 o'clock or whatever, and then goes and pulls the night shift at Olive Garden. And so what happens here is people are like this, are struggling to make ends meet, and yet the Democrats are not in touch with the people at all.
No.
And they showed that when they wouldn't go to East Palestine when the train crashed, when they didn't go to North Carolina and said they were out of money, that FEMA was out of money because of all the immigration. This stuff resonates with the common man, and at some point people say, we've had enough. We gotta and forget this crazy social issues, the transgender issues and all these other things.
Right.
We don't care. We have to eat. We have to protect the family. And I think that's what we're seeing, Mike.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the country will wake up to this, Passport. Will be a fight, though. This is one of those, it's a defining moment, yes, but it's also a separation moment from, those who are of the faith, right? I think they're going to start to walk forward now. I think it's going to be a clear divide. People are not hiding what they really are anymore. They're not. So you're going to have a lot of folks who are just not, they're not going for it anymore. They're just not. But I can still perceive there's going to be a struggle here. There's going to be a struggle. This is not going to go without a struggle. It's just simply not. The Democrats have prepared.
I'm hearing rumors, and I'm going to let you finish that thought.
But they are prepared for...
Oh, hang on, folks. We just lost Mike. Uh-oh, Mike's getting ready to tell us something, and the NSA... they're not supposed to be over here listening to us, but I guess they can.
So, Pastor, I wanted to add on to what you and Mike were both talking about there. And he had mentioned, 37-year-old and younger voters. So I follow in that demographic myself. I think what a combination of what both of you are saying is extremely valuable and true, because what the Democrat Party, pretty much the whole party has been doing this whole administration is gaslighting people the entire time.
Yeah, Paul, Mike, we got you back, but Paul's on a good spot here, so let's let him finish that. Mike, you're there?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Paul.
So the administration has pretty much been gaslighting everybody the entire time, and as Mike was saying, like, that's pretty hard to hide when you start to see it in your bank account and your wallet, and you can't afford the same amount of groceries that you used to be able to before. But not only that, but the wing of the Democrat Party is also mainstream media. And what's happened, I would say over the last couple of weeks, you can really see it to come to fruition. We're doing a show right now because we can report differently and different perspective and without an agenda, and we're not brought to you by Pfizer, right?
Right.
Podcast and YouTube and X and all of these alternative non-legacy media platforms are what people are actually trying to watch now. Not only because they could potentially do it themselves, but because there's no strings attached to it. We're not brought to you by Pfizer, right? When you start to like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, when you start to have these big sponsors, you're kind of strangled on what you can and can't say. And with the gaslighting from the administration, it started from the time from COVID, which I think that's the only good thing, or the only thing that Biden-Harris administration was able to accomplish was slowly roll back everything about COVID. And then when tonight came, everybody forgot it even existed.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mike?
Yes, sir.
You got ready to say something also, Mike, when you got cut off. You think something's going to happen. Can you pick that back up?
Well, I think, you know what, I think that tonight, after they drag it out, yeah, I know everybody is hoping for some early, responses. I'm always looking for that resistance, right? Some sort of reprisal, because they're going to want everything counted. So everybody might want to buckle in, right? They might want to buckle in. But in the long run, Pastor Paul, they are ready for resistance in this country. You have governors that are ready for riots. Well, certain governors are ready for rioting. They're ready for all sorts of things, which should automatically tell everybody they have no confidence in their own. If I was running a place that was going to count votes and I knew everything was working, it was up to par, right? There'd be no need to put those things in place, right?
Right.
But due to uncertainty and probably what they already know, not all states, certain states have put things in place to protect certain personnel and set equipment. So that kind of gives you an indication that they're not trying to rock the boat, so to speak. They're trying to, the way everybody should find the way they're reporting these numbers is a bit odd. They've never come in like this.
No,
right?
no.
They've never come in like this, which means this is a coordinated presentation is what this is. This is absolutely a presentation. We don't know how many votes they have actually tallied, right?
Right.
Can you imagine a place that has tallied everything, but they're putting them out every 15 minutes or something like that?
Just kind
right?
of slow walking the reporting.
There you go.
Yeah.
To make everything look close.
Yeah.
Make everything
Keep it
appear to
close.
be close. Because they know if it's a blowout, somebody's going to holler foul. And if that happens, that's a call for people to become a little more alert. They're trying to stay away from that, right? They're attempting to. But I'll tell you something. There's another component to this spiritual component. They know time is running out. Time is simply running out. Right now, where this morning, when they had that bomb threat in Georgia, right?
Yep.
There was actually a couple of incidences that took place, and there were some intercepts. Russia is doing something to the U.S. not involving the elections, but you have factions or portions of Russia, not necessarily Putin, right? You have people doing things on their own, but they're trying to start fires in aircraft, and they're trying to set off devices and send them to the USA. Now, at first, in the early hours of the morning, that sounds like ludicrous nonsense because this is election day. But when it happens that, when the story repeats from 3 a.m. to about 6 a.m., when you look into it,
so you've actually
found evidence of certain things.
So you're
right?
saying Russia is trying to send planes into America with explosives on them
They're trying to get explosives on aircraft coming to America. That story will open up later on this week, but I don't believe this is Putin. Here's what I believe.
Okay.
You have an individual, and Kolaganov is one of those individuals who is highly influential in Russia. Here we have propaganda in the USA, so most people don't know the perspective of the Russian people, nor the Russian government. For one, the axis of evil in the Middle East, right? They call it the axis of resistance.
Yes, they do. Yes.
That's what they call it. And Putin has declared that these are biblical times. Now, he did this 2 days ago, Pastor Paul. Think about that. He declared these are biblical times. He also declared that the Ukraine and the fight with Ukraine was World War III, because it's not a fight with Ukraine. See, he understands in 2021, NATO was about to deploy over 500,000 troops to Donbass, right? He understands that. So he interrupted that, is what he did. but they're still trying to do, things like that. Now the USA has taken up the charge, and we have essentially, utilizing the Ukraine, have moved things into the Ukraine. We probably shouldn't have, because now Putin has evidence. See, now it's beyond suspicion. And that changed in the last week and a half. It's beyond suspicion. If you had the arm of a person who was from the USA, the U.S. military, who actually bore the identity of something like, I don't know, Delta operator or something like that, who are independent operators that you don't fake a Delta operator imprint, or something like that. You don't do that. So if he had that evidence, it is for real in his eyes, right? He has a lot of evidence indicating that the U.S. has been directly involved with this Ukrainian-Russian thing for a long time. He's acting on it, is what I'm saying. He had a speech, started at the BRICS summit, but he had a speech with Iran concerning the West. And he already knows what their agenda is. More leaks have happened. Not only was it a leak from, concerning Israel, other things were also leaked that they're not talking about. And so Russia already knows certain things about the USA and NATO and its plans concerning, and they can't wait. His word was, it'll be a good thing. It'll be a good thing for some sort of nuclear fight. He didn't say fight, he used another word, but some sort of nuclear exchange. That'll be a good thing, because what it will do is rush them in to the changeover of the international community. They believe that the West is faltering, right? Now, this is not just Russia. You're talking about Russia, most of the Middle East, Asia, South America, right? You're even people in Canada. Some of the folks in Canada are talking about the implosion of America and the Western center of power. They're talking about that. So we're in the middle of a struggle that has not quite fully manifested yet. But it will now. If Trump wins tonight, they're really out of time, because Putin made a statement with Kolganov, which, by the way, has Putin's ear. And if Trump ever gets into power, see, if Kamala got into power, they would have maybe another couple of weeks. If Trump gets into power, they must almost act immediately. And that means if he wins, if they announce a winner before our intelligence can determine what in the world Russia's planning, we're going to get a surprise we don't want.
Well,
right?
Real quick,
he's in too many places.
We do have breaking news that New Hampshire has now been awarded to Harris. She'll pick up those 4 delegates. And Paul, can you tell me, has Missouri been called yet? I don't know. It was close.
No, Missouri is still 21% is in, and Harris leads 51 to 48.
Okay, Israel, what do you have back there?
I have it in that Trump has won North Carolina.
Okay, has that been called? Is that coming from?
It's coming from a bunch of different places. My source was saying a little while ago that they're confident about North Carolina, but there's several people saying he just won North Carolina.
Okay.
I'm also seeing that on a lot of spots here on X. AP's not reported that, though.
Fox hasn't reported it yet either, but you guys, a lot of times, X and some of these other sites do get the information, or they at least release it first, because they get it and they release it before these other guys, which is basically what you're saying, Mike, is that there's an orchestration going on the releasing of the information. Can't let it all out that they know right now, because if they did, probably your Nevada and Arizona voters would just say, forget about it, he's already won, And also the perception is it can't be too fast of a win, but at the same time, they can't drag it too long either, and right. People think there's cheating going on. There's this balance.
Right. What's the number one thing you have not heard tonight? You've heard no one say, hey, they're cheating.
No, I haven't. You're right. We've heard of bomb. We've had bomb threats in Atlanta, right. And up there in Pennsylvania somewhere, Philadelphia or somewhere, in a few places. But no, we don't hear reports of cheating. No, that's pretty quiet.
And that's the plan. Because if they have that, if that starts, they know if President Trump starts, if he says that, a few times, it's going to take off like wildfire. And they don't want that to happen. They even talked to him and said, they talked to his advisors and said, tone down that rhetoric of that word. We're going to do everything in conformance. But I also know they have communications channels, each election headquarters to the next. So you could say they can all be on one conference call and do the same thing at the same time, or have the same instructions. So yeah, it's a coordinated release of votes, which is not a dumb thing to do. It's not. But yeah, no cheating allegations have been filed so far. Not in the public's eye anyway.
All right. Well, again, Missouri has not been called. Iowa, I think Fox, I think, has just called Missouri, but they have not called North Carolina. So
He'll probably win North Carolina. Traditionally, that's a Republican state anyway. That was what, 2016, 2020?
right, yeah, he won both
North Carolina,
those before.
so he'll probably win that.
So Paul,
Virginia is a big deal. Have they any updates on Virginia?
Yeah, tell us what's going on in Virginia, Paul.
A couple sources on X is saying Harris for Virginia, but AP has not said that either, and Trump actually has a 50-48 lead with 58% reporting in Virginia.
That's huge. I mean, Trump may just win Virginia, and that's a game changer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
That may just change the whole focus of this election, because then Harris could win Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin and still lose because she lost Virginia. So that's
I can't see Harris winning all of these states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. I think at least one of them is going to go Trump, and I think Trump, from the map right now, it looks like he's going to get the entire Southeast Conference.
Is he going to win Georgia? Because that has not been called yet.
Georgia's 78% is in. Trump is up 52.5 to 47.
Is Atlanta in? Are there votes in?
Let's see. Atlanta, yes, they're still counting all of those, but they've been reporting Athens, Macon, Savannah, Augusta. All the major cities are already reporting.
But Atlanta's not done yet. And remember, they had the bomb threat there in Atlanta, and that's going to delay things. And that may be where we have to wait if it's too close. But if a Trump up by 5%, if we get down to just the final things in Atlanta, that may not be enough to put Harris over the top, and we'll have to wait and see. North Carolina right now, Trump is leading 51 to 48.3 with 99. This is just Anson County, with 99% of the vote in there in that county. What is the total vote in right now for North Carolina?
63%. It's 51.8 to 47.2.
So Trump's up about almost 3.5 points.
He'll probably get it.
He's probably going to get it, and he could get Virginia. I mean, this really looks like it's possible.
Yeah,
Virginia would be the shock of the night.
Yeah, that's a big one. Virginia's a big one.
If he gets Virginia, so he's actually starting to gain in Pennsylvania as well. So his 33% is in. Harris, who jumped up to a huge lead, is now up 51.5 to 47.6.
Where's that at?
And Pennsylvania.
Okay. Still early.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very early. I think Virginia, Pennsylvania is going to be a while before they call those.
Go ahead, Mike.
They're playing it well. They're playing it well to keep everybody calm. They are. They're playing it well.
Well,
I think in the wee hours of the morning, we're going to have some standard issues. I'm looking at the lawsuits that are being filed.
How many did you say have been filed, Mike?
Well, this morning there were over, I think, was it 200 lawsuits and that number jumped to 3. It's over 4. I'm sure it'll be more than that. From small, things to bigger things, and we're going to see how that plays out. But if Trump wins, that legitimate win, then nobody's going to be concerned about the lawsuits except Walz and Harris.
Yeah,
I don't foresee them. I'll tell you what, if Trump wins and they do nothing, right, you better believe something else is coming down the pipe. Now, I'm not being conspiracy theorist on this. I'm just saying I'm looking at the work they did, at what they've actually been interested in doing. They will not, they're just not going to just drop everything and walk away. They're just not going to do
Mike, there's rumors, and I'm going to ask you because Bishop Larry Ragland was on earlier tonight, and he threw this one out there, that Biden may be going to step down and let Harris be sworn in as the 47th president for the last 70 days or so. And I don't know what that agenda would be other than history, or unless she's going to do a lot of pardons or going to be doing a lot of executive orders, or what in the world? Do you think there's anything to this?
Well, Biden has healthy. I'll tell you something. I said something once before. And I was quoting somebody else from some years back. If a female president gets in the White House, right, she'll not come out. She'll not come out of the White House. That's not going to happen. If Kamala Harris gets into the White House, that's going to be it. They know for a fact psychologically that will polarize this nation in a very different way. I mean, a very different way. Even though we had the election, and you better believe there's going to be mechanisms behind her. If she stays on her agenda, look for some type of war in the short term.
I mean, yeah, you've been saying that. Okay, so let's say Biden resigns, or he steps down, or he has a medical event.
Health problems.
Has a medical event. Harris gets sworn in as the president. And then a major development in the Middle East or Europe or something, a detonation of a nuke, something. It doesn't matter that Trump just won the election. He's going to be sworn in on January 20th. You're saying they may use some mechanisms to keep her in power?
Yeah, well, if war starts, they're not going to change presidents. They're not going to do that. They're going to bring up some clauses, and she will keep her insulation.
Wouldn't that create chaos beyond belief if you do that? If you've already got President Trump elect waiting in the wings, and he's 35 days away, I mean...
Well, no, that depends on the war mechanism. If we had a severe wartime event that touched U.S. soil, right, I don't think anybody's going to really be thinking about it. They're not going to think about that. Right, but think about something we're having attempts on power plants, severe attempts. These are bad attempts, weapons of mass destruction against our power grid. So not a bottle bomb, right? Not something like that. No, we're talking about weapons of mass destruction against the power grid, and what that translates into is, what it will translate into is something against some nuclear site somewhere in America. So imagine if that were successful, right? Then all bets are off. All of this, everything will stop. That'll be the worst thing we could ever encounter.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
You're looking at a 15-year containment operation, at least 15 years. You're looking at a pretty big radius of people injured, radiation poisoning, all sorts of things happening, and we know if one happens, it's not going to be the only one.
So you're talking now. Is there some chatter going on out there, Mike? Of that.
Everybody's working tonight. Everybody is working tonight. Today was a couple of scares happened today, and so there's some serious breaches and some serious issues happening right now. It's an eventuality, right? It's an eventuality. So. Even if Trump wins, people might want to stay vigilant. They might want to.
Wow. Mike, I'm going to have to let you go. We've got another guest coming on, Pastor Leo Dempsey out of North Dakota. But you've just left me with my jaw bouncing off the floor. But I'm sure you and I can talk more about this Thursday night, so we'll leave it right there. Who knows what may take place? So I appreciate
Well, Pastor Paul and Bart, God bless you guys.
Thank you, Mike. God bless you too. Thank
right,
you for
thanks,
taking the
Mike.
time. God bless.
All right.